All right, let's try this again without so many interruptions. I gave up on doing I'm just up doing it through the phone. I'm getting a plethora of texts. I can't check any of the texts while I'm filming it. So back to how we usually did it. It wasn't like I had 200 people watching anyways. I don't know what it is. I get in the garage and I have a zillion watchers. I don't know why. The garage isn't really worth looking at. And it's a reverse video and the lighting sucks. Alright. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. But anyways, I don't know if I'm going to have a video tomorrow morning or not. If I had to guess, probably not. I got to get out of the house relatively early. I don't want to be in the middle of something. I don't be like, I really don't want to leave. And, you know. Isn't it amazing? Like sometimes the year, like all kinds of fucking things happen on top of each other. There'll be like months where nothing's going on. All right, let's primer this. Primer in this machine gun. We're going to need a little bit more of this stuff. And then the laser that's on top of the Jaguar. Doesn't look like much of a laser. Hey, what's up, Ben? Sorry about that false start and everything, but man, I don't expect these kind of problems on my free time. This is like, this is like the bullshit that happens at work every day. I've actually had to take I've had to go to extreme measures to control the interruptions at work, and it's worked so far. Yeah, if I'm now with a couple different things that they do now. Like I'm in the middle of a lot of things I can't get interrupted in the middle of. So like, I'm like, oh, what's that phone call coming in? Oh, it's some weird ass fucking name. It's nobody I'm expecting. I'll call them back when I get to the stopping point. What's up, Lee? Yeah, back to normal. We can't film with a phone. It's too restrictive. So, So yeah, I gotta do extreme. Or I can't get the stuff done that I need to get done. And that's what I've noticed. People will either like call like as soon as they get to work, or like at 10, or during lunchtime, or like at 3. That's like the really busy times for people to call. I've noticed that last couple weeks it's kind of turned into a pattern. And I get a shitload of junk calls at work. So I do the sensible thing. I don't pick up the phone. I don't call them back. And they do the insensible thing. They keep trying. Because if you ask them, say you don't call, they'll be like, oh, they'll be persistent. Like, nobody's ever told them fucking no before. Cold calls, I think they're called. I think we got everything on here. Now, and I used to answer them all, but then they don't take no for an answer, so I'm just like, I'm not even going to pick them up. And you'll go somewhere and like, oh, I can't be interrupted right now, and then they leave a message, and I go, perfect, that's a call I shouldn't have picked up, because obviously it wasn't important enough to leave a message. It wasn't a customer. So anyways, Lee, there is a Hot Wheels. I believe it's a Hot Wheels. I think it's a Hot Wheels, not a Match. It's a ridiculous model. So it's got to be a Hot Wheels. Matchbox stuff is normally normal looking things. There's a Hot Wheels out there that looks like a freight engine. It doesn't have, it's got tires on it. And I need to be on the lookout for it because I think I've got a build for it. I've got a name for it anyway. See, I name things before I even build them. What's the name for it? Of course you want to know what the name for it is. So I got this from a coworker, and he would say, he'd say something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm gonna send that on my railroad, Norfolk and Waypal." Said instead of Norfolk and Southern, Norfolk and Waypal. So I need a train engine that says that's Norfolk and Waypal. Big old cow catcher. If I see it. But it's a ridiculous build. I don't mind some of the ridiculous builds. I just don't want every car to be a ridiculous build. I got that silly one with a toaster, and I've got, some taco trucks, and, but if every vehicle's like that, that's just stupid. If you have a few, that's okay. Although Norfolk and Southern, I don't think ever used steam locomotives. I'm pretty sure they didn't. Have a great stream. We'll watch late UK night. Okay, man. Yeah, last couple streams I've had are really good, but I was outside. I get over on the airbrush deck and people watch that stuff, which is fine, except that the resolution on it is crap, and there's nothing I can do about it. I guess people don't care about resolution. If I had better resolution, people would just see me better. Maybe that's what it is. They don't want to see me. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so that game I was talking to you about, Ben, that I saw it. It was on the State of Decay thing. Oh, you guys should try this game. It's much better. I'm like, all right. And I looked at some of the videos, and I'm like, all right, the graphics look a little funky, but it's interesting. But it's at a level where it's like, I think State of Decay is a good balance of like building a base, having supplies, combat, and going and looking for, weapons and stuff like that. I think it's a good balance. This other game, it's like, I haven't found a single firearm, which is okay, but first of all, I got half eaten by a damn zombie because I couldn't, the controls are so freaking weird. I'm like, you actually literally had to like pull the left trigger back to aim, and then right trigger to actually hit, to swing. I'm like, A does nothing. I'm like, that's weird. It's called Survivalist White Strain or something like that. And the worst thing about it is it's very glitchy. Like, it has an interesting thing about it that you could fast forward time. So like you're playing it, and you're like, man, I'm like gathering something, or you're walking, so you can just move it so it moves faster. So your guy moves faster, right? It's like in fast forward. A good concept. It's super glitchy. There'll be times where it's like, you'll do that, and then you okay, let's put it down to normal. You can even pause the game. Let's go down to normal, and it doesn't bring it down to normal. I'm still fast, and it's glitchy. But it's like $11, so. The people are super ugly. Super ugly. It's weird. What was that movie what movie was it that people were wearing masks? Like space masks, like a helmet, but you could see their face but their face was round in the shape of the helmet. I don't know what that Mars Attack. I don't know. I don't know what movie. Maybe it was. Maybe it's the guys in the. Maybe it's in the Borderlands, the pre-sequel, where the guys are wearing the oxygen things, and like they have a face, but their face is shaped. Here's the problem. Developer Bob. Who the hell is Developer Bob? So their face is shaped. It doesn't have a contour, probably to save pixels or whatever. So everybody has the same profile, and then they look weird. They look like sleeve stacks, in a way. Who the hell is Developer Bob? He's a dick or something? I mean, I think the concept's okay. I may give it another shot. The reality is it's not addictive. So I'm not like, okay, well, I'm playing that instead of doing this. So I guess that's good. I could have just played the free demo, but I didn't. I'm like, it's $11. Yeah, well, not anymore. Gone. The dud that made the game. No studio, just Bob. Oh. Well, maybe he can use my $11 to buy condoms and never have any sorry kids to turn out like him. Yeah, smart enough to develop games, not smart enough to come up with a name of a studio, right? Like, dude, that's the fun part. Actually doing the development, screw that. I remember one of the first video games that I got for my first computer. My first computer that was truly mine was this game called, and it came with my Mario Andretti racing wheel. It's actually a decent performing racing wheel. This game called Interstate 76 Nitro Pack. Now there's a game called Interstate 76, but this was the expansion to it that you could play by itself that came for free with it. And it's like a Gaslands type game with like graphics that nobody would be able to stand anymore. Right? There's some people that swear, "Oh, I like retro gaming." That's because you're blind. Okay? Like I'm not doing that again. Now I'm going to attempt to take this Hot Wheels logo that's here, and I'm going to attempt to cover it with this primer. And it's not that I don't like the Hot Wheels racing logo, it's that, I'm building toy cars that are really supposed to be real cars, not a big Hot Wheels that somebody drives around in. And I would rather do this than try to use acetone to get this off. That sounds like a project. That sounds like a product that Richard Simmons would be pushing. Get some of that acetone. Okay, this one's on the yellow there. Okay, so now these items are primed. All right, so we'll let them dry a little bit. We'll go back over here. Yeah. I don't know what the history of that studio is. I can tell you personally from my own experience, there's some studios that generally, I don't like the products that they make. They don't jive with me. I'm not saying they're crap. They just don't jive with me. And Bethesda's one of them. But I don't like Bethesda games. I don't like I don't know, the interaction between them. The Baldur's Gate is not bad for a Bethesda game. Baldur's Gate 3, it's just really long-winded. It has zero replay value. Zero. I think Assassin's Creed games have more replay value than Baldur's Gate 3. It's like you buy some D&D module and you run through it once, And you're like, okay, that's it. Like, you find the same people in the same places. It's like way too fucking redundant, you know. Okay, so these are primed. They've been clear coated. They have the brown wash on them. They're going to need builds on them, so let me not get too carried away with that. I think that I can do black lining on this safely. I shouldn't have to interfere with any of the black that's there. You know, that game that you recommended, man, it just, I can't get through the menu, man. You have to like sit on my lap and walk me through it. And you kind of did, and I still can't. I still just can't. Whatever it's called. Their interface is just weird. It's like counterintuitive interface, at least for me. War Thunder's the same way. Until Don walked me through it. And now I'm a little bit better with it. But War Thunder, you look at it and like, oh my god, I bought it, but like this is like for extra real money, but that's not real money. That's like coins that you can buy, but you have to trade real money for it. And you're like, what's the exchange rate? You're like, oh my, you know, I'm like, you're like stock trading, and all you don't want to do is like play a game. All those cosmetic things that you pay extra money for. And like I said, for the first time I actually interacted with somebody, so I never do this, interacted with a supposed real person in voice chat, and I realized, man, there's a lot of people that are dopers, that sit around all day long, and all they do is do drugs, don't go to work, and play video games. And they're like adults, you know? I did try the desert one. The interface is like counterintuitive. You need to walk. I don't know. You just come on over and walk me through it. You know, the interface is a big, and it's not like it's only that game unique. There's a game that people were raving about on one of the computer game forums a couple years ago. Oh, this is the best game, and everybody would like, you know, everybody would jump on board and say it's the best game they ever played. And it was a game called, I've talked about it before, called Shadow something or another. And it's a 4D game. You're exploring a world, and you're building a government, you're building resources, and you're fighting the aliens and the thing, and you know, it's almost reminds me of the old Empire game, the old Empire game. Like but I mean, obviously magnified to 20 times 27. Shadow something. I'm like, where do I start? It's like all over the place. Shadow Empire, yeah. I'm like, it's retro looking. Okay, all right. Well, I don't really like that, but and I don't like it retro because I've lived through that. It's like when I was 7 or 8 years old, I had to wear corduroy pants. I'm not volunteering to wear fucking corduroy pants again, okay? I lived through it. You're just playing the campaign for Battlefront 1, the World War I one, and I'm not overly impressed. Is that the one that came out like 4 years ago? Where you can like play the Alpini, and they're like these super troops that are like shooting Maxim machine guns from the hip, and they've got armor on them, and I'm like, no. I played that one a little bit. It's got like chase a train against the Turks or something like that. I've done all that shit before. People loved Shadow Empire. And what was the other one that I got that I got it as a super discount? There's The one that's made by the Ancients people. What's the Ancients game with the miniatures where you push it like DVA, but it isn't. It's the competitor. And they made it into a video game. I can't remember what it is. I've played it quite a bit. Including from somebody, including with a DBA focused person from your neck of the woods, out in Britain. I played a lot of games of it, actually. But one thing, there's a lot of things that I like about it, but better than DBA, except there's no commander. There's like no general figure. There's no general stand. I'm like, well, that's just fucking, I just feel empty. You know, I just feel empty inside. Field of Glory. Yeah, the Field of Glory Ancients and the Field of Glory Medieval. I like the medieval one because I always like to critique the if they got the right armor, all the shield patterns and shit like that. It's a good game, especially the medieval one. It's a solid game. I think it's a solid simulation, but there's no commander. Like, I'm missing that. So anyways, I got the Field of Glory Ancients campaign, right? Where you can play like the campaign one. I forget what it's called. It's probably called something. It might be called Empires. Where you can like say, I'm going to play Pyrrhus, right? And you get your little zones and you kind of build things there. And when you go into a combat, it takes those units and puts them in a Field of Glory battle game tactically. You can play that. Got bored of it really, really quickly. Got bored with it really quickly. Because the Field of Glory Empires or whatever it's called, it's like, man, I need like an advanced degree to play that. The tactical stuff, like the first time I ever played it, I'm winning battles left and right. Like I know how to play that. But the strategic stuff and like, okay, you got to build crops, but you can't build, if you build crops and you start them in the winter time, it's probably going to be bad. Wait till spring. That kind of like all the whole level of stuff behind the game. Yeah, I don't have kingdoms. I have the Empires one. And I played it for like part of an afternoon and I never opened it again. But the worst game I've ever bought, that I remember, that I should have never bought, I've literally played it one time with somebody who knew how to play it. It was okay, super clunky, super demanding of my computer. My computer is like, it's like I can almost like cook a steak on it. It's getting so warm. And there's no reason for this game to make the computer making it so warm. For whatever reason, it's like constantly. Is Virtual Tabletop. Virtual Tabletop, in my opinion, is the most unfriendly interface ever. And I see pictures of this one guy post stuff all the time on one of the computer things, and he's got these beautiful setups, and I'm like, that's a lot. That's way too much trouble. Got bored eventually. It's 1 year turn, so you can't recreate Alexander's. It takes 15 years to march from India to Greece. Well, maybe he was son of a god. When I was on the trip to the flea market, the one last weekend, before I called you, I was listening to Dan Carlin, and he has a multiple episode on Alexander, which I probably shouldn't need. I shouldn't read anything about Alexander because I did a whole like what do you call it, a seminar on him? Not a seminar, but whatever it was, a whole 28-step pro. It was pretty interesting, But there's some stuff about Alexander I'm just not interested in, I want the the tactical juicy stuff of the battle, and a lot of it is like we already know, But Dan was saying some stuff on there that I've argued about, before. It's like he gave him already like a functioning army, like you already gave him like the tools, He said something along the lines of, if Philip had lived longer, Philip would be the name. Philip would be the one that would be the great. I'm not saying Alexander was a piece of shit, but Alexander didn't create his army, you know. Is there any modern takes on Alexander that he was actually the bad guy? I mean, the megalomaniac in life. I guess anybody who goes to war and conquers other people, that creates situations where people's homes get burned down and they get enslaved, is technically a bad guy. But I'm just saying, is he worse than the Persians? I look at things from a Western viewpoint, so I can't be trusted, in my opinion. But the Macedonians were notorious for murdering each other, but so were the Persians. That's why the Persians got weakened so much. Well, one of the reasons they got is they kept murdering each other. The worst thing you could happen if you're the satrap or whatever it's called, if you're the guy, the king of kings, is have multiple sons. You got multiple sons, when you're gone, you got problems. They're going to fight amongst themselves. They're going to weaken the whole country. But I don't think that was an isolated thing. I think that a lot of people did. The Turks also did that. The Ottomans had that problem. But that's not necessarily just there. It's a system where, basically, the old eldest gets everything. That happened to the Normans. The Normans did that, That's why you have a big Norman family with lots of brothers. They got to go to Italy or somewhere and carve their own kingdom up. Because, if you take the one kingdom, which isn't that big to begin with, and you start splitting it 7 ways, everybody's going to be left with, a post office and a bakery on the corner, And the postal service still hadn't been invented yet. So you give it to everything to one guy, everybody else they got to get their riches doing mercenary stuff. So that's one thing that surprised me, is that in Britain, the Normans are viewed as the bad guys. See, I'm usually on the side, I'm usually on the side that has the cooler uniforms. So if you're talking about Anglo-Saxons and Normans, Normans are cooler. Sorry. Got horses. And besides, I don't have to have one of those ridiculously large mustaches like the Anglo-Saxons did. Big ass fucking mustache. Nope. I was thinking a 28mm Greek project going towards being I can't even remember how to say his name anymore. And grabbing some elephants. I don't remember him anymore. Man, I was on that. Finally broke the mold. Okay, Now I know who everybody is. And this guy was here, this guy took over, and then this guy split. I don't remember what he is. I don't remember who he is anymore. I don't remember who he is anymore. Like Chemicus or whatever his name is. See, I don't want to do somebody that like sucked. So like, when you suck at battle, you're like, well, what'd you expect? It's these guys. Like what's his name? The Antigonus' son. Antigonus' son he didn't do real well. The besieger. Man, I don't remember. I watched several videos and read a couple of books on it, and I was like, I knew it. Right when we did all those battles, because I literally we did that one series of battles. It's all on the successors. So it's like, okay, this guy versus this guy, and this guy versus this guy. Like I knew it really well. I just have to get back into it and remember. I don't remember which Lysimachus is. Now I know about obscure Hot Wheel cars. Yeah, I know. Well, you just get to the point where, you learn something new and you forget something. You don't know what the hell it is right now, but you've forgotten. You're like, I'm at a Ram, right? Alcetus. Or Alcetas. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember anymore. And man, I knew that a couple years ago. I knew who Antipater was, and Perdiccas, and it's different. You got to find something that's organized, like, and that in the videos from the Kings of War, or whatever it's called, it was pretty clear. I never got around to doing Pyrrhus' army, even though I got the book for it. Got all the troops for it. I'm a fan. Yeah, I don't want to do Macedonian elephants without towers. So legend has it he's the first one to put towers on him. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how I would build it. Now remember, Macedonian army doesn't have elephants, really. I mean, at the very end, just before Alexander dies, and they fought the Indians, they have some. And then the successors have them, or some successors have them. One of those successor armies has a shitload of solid auxilia. And it's the guy that stayed, some guy that never, ventured anywhere other than in, Thrace. I think that's what those guys are supposed to be. They're supposed to be Thracians. His DBA list was kind of squishy for a Macedonian army. I can't even remember what freaking Antigonus One-Eye's son is anymore. Like I said, all I gotta do is pick it up again, look at it again. Oh, okay. The Besieger. I guess that's the only civil war I find interesting. The War of the Successors, I would call that a civil war. That's the most interesting civil war. Demetrius, that's it. Yeah, Demetrius. The Successor Civil War is definitely more interesting than any other civil war, in my opinion. All right, that's enough black washing of that guy. Is there any black washing worth doing on this thing? Is there a panel line that crosses into the blue? Well, it does, but there's already a line through it, so there's no point in doing that. I'll let that dry for a little bit. Let's do this Scottish booger. I always got who's the two guys I always get mixed up? That I got mixed up. It was Perdiccas. I don't remember anymore. I remember as soon as I watched the video, but Perdiccas is the guy that kind of had control of the army when Alexander died. I don't remember. Man, I knew that really well, but well, the reality is it wouldn't take me long to pick it back up again. Macedonian successors. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, Perdiccas was the first one. Everybody jumped on top of him. He got killed by the river. Basically had an army, and everybody's like, I don't know about this guy, and like everybody revolted, and things went south. Yeah, I don't remember. And there was some. I've read some stuff that made it really clear. Because there's some things that are like, man, this is just a jambalaya. But it like spelled it out like really clearly. And I'm like, okay, I get this now. They're certainly interesting, that's for sure. The one army that's really interesting is that successor-like army of Menander. Because he was one of the Greco-Bactrian guys, and he went into India, and he set up his own kingdom over there. So you got hoplites and elephants and bowmen, and, he's a cab general, if I remember correctly. All this information that we just don't know much about it. And probably never will. But that's why my least favorite DBA army of all time is one of the ones that Phil actually had the most to say about. And that's King Arthur's army. Because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Nothing's known. They don't know for sure who he was or if he was. It's like, come on, Britain can do better than have King Arthur as a figurehead. Like, pick somebody else. Pick somebody that really was. And Longshanks, I never got a chance to build my Longshanks army. But I do, the real version, the one that was actually worth a damn, not the king that's in Braveheart that's basically worthless. Depends on if the aliens were recording everything like that Big Brother show. Oh, I don't know. Isn't Big Brother like the Real World or something like that for Britain? It's a British show. right? Big Brother. I hate reality shows because they're not really, they're edited. If the reality show's like, all right, we're going to film everybody on this island, and at the end of the day, we're going to come back in a year, and there better only be one person left. Well, that might be interesting, right? But not like, oh, we're going to go through all this, and there's going to be a vote, and we're going to do interviews, and, well, what I really didn't like is Sally used the towel last, and she curled it up into a ball and didn't hang it up to dry. And, well, I'll tell you another thing. Yeah, that's like, it should just be called Bitch Fest. Okay, that looks tremendously better. Just having a little bit of delineation there. And you know what? I think I botched this up. I didn't add enough delineation here around the windows. You think there's that many people that actually believe in aliens? I don't know. I don't even worry about it. And what I mean by aliens is, life that's bipedal and humanoid-like. Not like, oh, we found these really smart plants. I don't give a fuck about chlorophyll, okay, from another planet, right? I'm talking about, humanoid type, people like us or more advanced. I just don't worry about it. Well, there's billions and billions of stars out there. The odds are that, well, there are odds to be 1 in 1. Like, you would have never been born. You wouldn't even know if you just happened to be one of the people that were born as a human, if this was the only people around. I don't know. There's a lot of shit we don't know to just be all like, yeah, there's gotta be other stuff. There's gotta be, this star, oh yeah, it's cooling down, it's gonna die in, the next million years because of you don't fucking know. It's just so damn far away, you don't have a clue. Just like, don't even worry about it. Like, show me the freaking shields, the color shields that the Romans used yesterday, basically. Like, you can't do that. So, like, what makes you so sure about stuff that's happening at an indeterminate distance that you'll never be able to reach? Okay. This is dry enough, I think, to proceed. Now, this little guy has a laser on the top of it. It's black. The whole vehicle is black. I'm going to leave this laser mount mostly black. But we are going to put a little red zip in there somewhere, okay? So we don't have to do a lot of painting on this. As a matter of fact, it could probably happen after the weathering. But we do need lights because they decided to mold them on here, but the sorry jokers did not put them on there. Now, the back of this vehicle looks really familiar, and I'm trying to think what vehicle it looks like. Obviously, these aren't running around the United States. An e-tron, an I-Pace, some electrical thing. Man, what's the back of that? Maybe a Mazda. Maybe there's a Mazda that looks like the back of that. So that's probably the first thing I should do, is to go ahead and paint that first. All right, so we're going to go and look at, maybe there's pictures of one online. So we're going to look at a Jaguar I-Pace. Oh, it's an SUV. Okay, images. Show me the money. Oh, it has a nice profile. Maybe it just looks better because it's silver. I like silver cars. Okay, here's the rear of it. So it looks like it's all red. Okay. About the front. looks like it's got fog lamps down there, but I don't know that it does. All right, so let's get some familiar colors down here. Let's get a red. Now, one of these reds is messed up, meaning when you unscrew this, the top of it stays in there. Is it this one? No. Okay. And that's primer, not real black. So still won't want to use, I think so. Just reading about the successors, and the Seleucids had a giant funeral cart for Alexander. What a baggage element that would be. I was playing some trivia game several months ago, and it had to do with Alexander, and it was like, and it wasn't multiple choice. It was like freeform. Like you had to basically come up with answers and fool other people, and then get points for the people that you fool. And then also, if you got it right, you got points. So, you want to give people, like, right, wrong answers, right? And it was like, what was Alexander body preserved in? And I'm like, fucking honey. And it was like, that was what it was. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I didn't even know that. I could be wrong, but that's what the game told me. So, Alexander loses a lot of points in my book if you really thought he was a god. Like, if you're that kind of delirious, like, he's braver than I'd ever be, So if you're a god, you're like, well, you got nothing to do. What are you going to do? Drink wine. Have fun with some dudes. I'd rather go to battle. I'd rather go to battle and have some dudes have their way with me. Just saying. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just, not my idea of a good time. And a wine hangover. Oh my, that would be horrific. Getting a headache just thinking about it. One guy I thought that was really interesting, and I came across him basically by accident. Reading something about, it might have been in that Ghosts of Cannae book, and there was this Roman commander named, again, I'm forgetting, because I'm not constantly doing it, Marcellus. And Marcellus was a guy that showed up on the scene between Cannae and when Hannibal was traipsing around Italy, but after Cannae. And he beat him. He actually beat Hannibal in a couple battles, so he wasn't stupid. But he was in one battle where they ambushed him, and he in a forest, and he died. And then Hannibal found out that he was dead, and basically supposedly gave him a proper funeral or whatever. But that was kind of like a and he had defeated the Celts or something like that. So he was like a well-known commander that most people don't know about. But I thought that guy was interesting. He might have been the same guy who took Syracuse. See, again, I don't remember these things because it's been, I haven't looked at ancient stuff in 5 years. I think it was the guy that took Syracuse. And then he found out that his troops killed Pythagoras. Or Archimedes, sorry. See what I mean? Just like, I know what guy it is, but oh no, it's not that guy, it's a different one. Yeah, having this little bit of red on here makes a big difference. I was playing that Assassin's Creed. One of you guys was playing Assassin's Creed. I can't remember which one of you guys had played the Greek one. And I came across, I remember from something I was reading, I think the first book I ever read on Audible, it might not have even been on Audible. It might have been through something else. But the first audiobook I ever read was when I was getting ready to paint my Athenians that I never did. I painted like 4 figures of the Athenians or something like that. And maybe a little bit more than that. But I was reading about the Peloponnesian Wars, and I came across everybody's favorite turncoat, Alcibiades. And when I encountered him in that game, I made sure to screw him every chance I got. And I don't mean figuratively, not for real. Because it's just like, what a dick. That's like the worst. That's like the worst character. Like, it's bad if you're like the bad guy, but it's like bad like nobody likes you because you're fooling everybody. Like that's a terrible quality. Because he was an Athenian commander and things went sideways and he ran to Sparta when they're fighting Sparta, and Sparta took him in. And then he ended up fucking around with Sparta, and they kicked him out too. It's like, so everybody's after you. All right, let's add a little bit of, I like to use white. I don't like to use yellow for this. I like to use a spot of white. Alcibiades. What a dick. Okay. All right, the front headlamps. Man, it sure looks like it's got fog lights. I'm not going to paint them if it doesn't have them. It's actually a pretty good looking vehicle. especially if it's got these Honda Accord slash Volkswagen Golf type of wheels on it. I like the contrast on that. But that's an SUV, so I'm out. I don't hate SUVs, but they don't excite me to drive. Let's put it that way. Still better than a station wagon, though. I had a friend of mine, though, who has a thing for station wagons. Like, I don't get it. You didn't get made fun of when you were riding in a station wagon. And it wasn't even my station wagon, it was my mom's. You get driven to work in a station wagon. Like, what the fuck, man? Don't put that on me. Kids are ruthless, man. They'll get you for anything. Alright. What the hell is a Jaguar emblem? Red, huh? Silver with red in the middle. No. We can only do so much with that. So, let's get some gunmetal here. Let's not even do the gunmetal color. Let's go up to somewhere in the middle with this color. Antipater. I think Antipater and Perdiccas, the two guys that got mixed up. Perdiccas, I think, is the first guy that has to fight other successors because they revolt against him. He dies at the Nile and drowns at the river or something like that. A little wire or something like that. We'll do that in this color. I bet I explained it in that successor video that I had, but who wants to go back and read that? Who wants to go back and watch that? You know, it's funny, you mentioned the other day, actually, I don't know if you're asleep or not, but you mentioned the whole Nessie thing. And I realized something, that there's one thing I think of immediately when you say the Loch Ness Monster. Can you guess what it is? No, there's no way you would guess what it is. Well, I mean, if you... There's no reason you would know. It's literally the very first thing I think of when somebody says Loch Ness Monster. You get a gold star on your forehead if you can guess it. Tree Fitty. No. Is there a Tree Fitty? No, see, I don't watch that show. It's Synchronicity 2. The song. Because it's got lines in there about the Loch Ness, you know. And that song's all over the fucking place. You know, most music is. Especially because I can't understand lyrics. So it's like, you know, all over the place. Synchronicity 2. Literally the very first thing I think of when somebody says Loch Ness Monster. I mean, what else would I think of? I didn't realize that it fed into Inverness or the other way around. I guess that's why it's called Inverness, dumbass. You know? Yeah, I was listening to the radio, going through the tunes, and that song came up, and I'm like, man, they used to play that song a lot way back when. 1983, 1984. A lot. And now it's like not played as much. You know. Tree Fitty. No, I have not seen. That's an American show. I don't know why you're watching American stuff. You guys don't have any TV worth a damn over there? I would say the TV is not good anywhere. Yeah, I have the Tree Fitty van. It's never been taken out for battle. But it's actually 350s. Oh, 350 calibers. Got it. Although that doesn't work either because a 50 caliber should be considered a heavy machine gun. And it does not have 3 heavy machine guns. It has 3 machine guns. Because there just aren't enough points to do it. It'd be a really big vehicle, point-wise. It'd be a really big vehicle. There we go. I don't think that it gets much other than that. I mean, obviously it gets weathered. Now this rust bucket, on the other hand, crust bucket. All right, we are going to get Iron Warriors. Actually, we're not going to start with Iron Warriors. We're going to start with 10 bits. What I always want to call 10 bits. Which is not 10 bits at all. It is... How many of these blacks do I have here that are like dead? It's like I tried to like get all I could out of it, putting water in it. I've got like 3 of them, and they're all hanging out in this one zone. Where's my tin bits at? Did I move it up here? No, it's dark tone. Wrought iron or whatever the hell it's called. Is it this one? Nope, that's German gray. Well, you son of a bitch should be over here. Is it this one? No, that's gunmetal, which is excruciatingly blue. That's an extremely blue gunmetal. All right, I'll be right back. I need to go use the little boy's room. I'll take my glasses so I can find it. And there it is. Rough iron. Rough iron, we're going to do that on the mesh that's over the windows. Be right back. There's a lot of really good stuff on the internet about music that I just can't listen to because I'm doing stuff on it. There's a lot of really good stuff on music, like history of different things, stuff like behind. Like I'm not a groupie of anything, but it's just kind of cool to hear some of the stuff behind the scenes that you may not know. But one thing that always comes up is what's the most perfect album? And I hate to break it to you, there isn't a perfect album out there. There's so many albums, and it might be a band you like. There's always at least half the songs you're like, they definitely were doing drugs when they came up with this. If you've got an album with like 10 songs and you only just like 2 of them, that's about as good as it gets. It's very hard to get more than that. Actually, there's a couple of albums that I actually think are pretty damn good, and it's not rock music, and it's not country either. I don't know if they have country music in England, but you probably listen to more of it than I do. I don't do that. Let's see. We're going to put somewhere where we want this to dry out quite a bit. Oh. But music, even more than food, is extremely open to interpretation. There's some stuff that people love, and I'm like, you must be on something. It's very personal. We're going to paint this kind of flat because there is glass underneath there. I'd rather not get this over the glass. I love how they have these shows on YouTube. It'll be like somebody that's maybe a voice coach or something like that. They'll listen to some song for the first time. They claim it's a song for the first time, and I'm sitting there thinking, you must have been in a cave outside of Tehran or something like that to never have heard this song before. I call bullshit. There's no way you could have avoided whatever it is. Okay, so it has some of that on there. Now I've got to decide what some of the colors of these things are. Obviously, the bumper is going to be a bumper-like color. This is some kind of attachment. I don't know what the hell color it's going to be. This is going to be some metal thing that has these drums attached to it. I'm feeling these drums are probably going to be in red, just so they stand out and it looks like something that's explosive. You know, because does have an exploding ram at the front and exploding ram at the back. Heavy machine gun, front mounted, but yet on the roof. So let's rinse this off. I think this is the only color we need this in. And we will get let's put rough iron away, which is something I don't do very often. I'm like, just move on to the next thing, and I got a pile of things over here that are out of place. Iron Warriors. And the whole machine gun's going to get this thing. Now, I don't know why this machine gun ends up having like a little sight on top of it. It's cannibalized from something else, I guess. Red dot sight. You can paint a red dot on it, it'd be alright. It's a pretty modern looking machine gun from a car from 1975. Alright, and we're going to take the same color and we're going to go over this iron part. Not covering it up completely. Want some of it to show. I feel like this needs to be metal as well. So we're going to just go over these, kind of overbrush it. So a more wet, dry brush. And the same thing with this thing at the front, this mount, which we may end up trying to color match it orange. I don't know, to get it to fit in a little bit more. It's still early. 4-hour difference. So at 8 it's midnight at your place. Okay. Well, we'll probably go to 8 and then stop. I think in the next 45 minutes, we should be able to get a lot done. And I'm going to go ahead and paint this barrel metal. Even though we're going to paint over it. I was envious of you people in the UK that can go to pubs and play games at pubs and everything. And many, back when I was doing DBA, we did, it was on April Fool's or was it on Easter? It was on April Fool's or Easter, one of the 2 days. Luke, back when he used to live in town, and Mitch and I went to this pub. The only place in town I would call a pub. It looks like a pub. It's a cool place. And we sat around playing games in public, so figured somebody would come by and see it. And not a soul came up to us and asked about the game. That's when I realized I have no hope for the human race. You're playing some game with little soldiers painted well, and no one comes up and asks what it is. And you can't say, well, you guys are just weird. Look, weird people are like the thing now, right? There's like weird people are about everywhere. And I'm talking like extra weird, you know? Not nerdy. Or some form of nerddom. I'm talking about extra weird people. That's like an in thing now. Okay. Looking a lot better. Looking a lot better with those things now. Colors added to them. Alright, so we want these barrels that are on the front and the back to look like you don't want to crash into somebody because they're going to detonate. They look detonationary. Let me get some more tea. That was one of the real frustrating things about DBA is like I couldn't do more. I couldn't do more and promote the game and get more players. There's just not that many people that are interested. And I bet the same thing happens in Warhammer. You might get a lot of people play Warhammer, but I'm sure people go there, buy a bunch of stuff, never see them again. Yeah, you're gonna have some guys you can count on being there, but you're gonna have, people are just flighty like that. People are just really flighty. All right, whatever these tubes are, I orange, or at least attempt them. Now we may make them corroded or something like that, but I think that'd be a nice tie-in. And besides, it's an opportunity to color match something, which I'm always up for doing. So, what oranges do we have that are close-ish? And I understand orange won't cover worth a shit. I get that. This isn't bad. This is not bad. Light orange, they call this. And I also have the old Games Workshop one. What's it? Fiery orange, I think. Now this one's it's going to have some metallic to it. This is, I think, a little closer. And neither one of them is going to cover worth a damn. The fiery orange probably covers better. And it doesn't fit there really. And it's only frustrating because, you can play DBA or something like that with one other person, but man, you'd like to have 8, 10, 12 people playing, and you can't find them. You can't find them. And it's like when your happiness in a game system depends on a lot of people playing the game, and you don't get the number of people playing the game, it's like a bummer. Like you go to a convention, we didn't get a lot of players. Well, you could just play with, I could just play with the people that I play in my own town. I didn't have to travel all the way down there to play in it. Like I'm pissing money up a rope. I'm pissing money away, and like nobody's showing up to play it. I'm like, why don't I just do my own thing, Anyways, I definitely don't miss it. all the discussions would be going on now, like, you know, you're playing DBF or whatever the hell it's called. Like, oh, spill. I wanted to spill it, just not that much. No big deal. One of my favorite things to do is this right here. Is pretend I'm one of the painting crews and we're trying to get the color kind of close-ish. And I water on the cardboard because it'll soak up some of that moisture. Yeah, my brother watches that show, but I never got into it because the art in it is just so crappy. You don't make excuses for it, like, well, it's supposed to look that way. Like, right, so they're not doing things as well as they could. Got it. Now, this is going to be corroded looking, so we don't have to have a completely smooth finish on this. It's a good thing because it'd take a month. The rate we're going back and forth with it. This is one of these colors that I bought off the, when I bought it, I mail ordered it, and it's probably sitting on somebody's shelf forever. And I'm probably going to do something like that. So you got some orange. On the mesh. I don't care that it's lumpy. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Almost like pastels in a way. We don't want that uniform. Good thing, because we didn't get it uniform. It's very unusual that I ran into the problem with that one truck that I was not happy with how it turned out. It is really a rare event when I am not happy with how something turns out. Now, there's times where it's like, okay, well, this isn't right, and I fix it on the spot. But it's very strange that I would walk away from something being unhappy with it. Oh, fucking great. That looks great. That looks great. And that's good because at this point, I'm looking at this and we'll be able to finish this guy tonight. I think we'll be able to do enough of it to finish this, to post some pictures of vitamin C4. So you got regular paint, you got layering on paint, you got dry brushing, and then you got what I always called wet dry brushing, but people claim it's called overbrushing. And that has a place too, and this is the place for it. Now we're going to paint the front of this like it's orange too, just not where the barrels are. And again, if you've got some kind of paint that it seems like it's so watery that as soon as you brush it off, you're brushing it on, you're brushing it off also, then just kind of stipple it as you put it on. That's worked well for me in the past. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make the barrels on both the front and the back of the same color. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to paint them in a green. Now, I may change it up a little bit, but let me start off with green. One that's not too dull, but also not too bright. That barrel's none too bright. So let's grab something like maybe this one, which is this one. Yellow olive. This is a good color. And we're going to overbrush this also. Mix a little bit of black. I don't know that we have any black here to mix with it. Whoa! Fumble fuck. The fumbler. Not a very good villain, the fumbler. We have a little bit of water here. So these are an explosive ram, so you get to use them one time, and then you're done. You don't have a ram at all. It's like reactive armor. We're going to take more of this green, and we're going to go over it. Any left? Nope. We done killed it. It's been killed. All right. So at this point, we've got some details that we're going to add to these oil cans, on these gas cans, and rustifications, but we don't want to do that now because when we do the weathering, it's going to make everything look more subtle, and we want some of these details to stand out. So we're actually going to do the drippings last, and once this is dry enough, we can go ahead and muddy this up, or look like it's been driven around. What we'll do is we'll weather the Jaguar first, and that'll give us a little bit longer time for that to dry out. Although, actually may have some things on here that we need to paint in a silver color. Nope, not on that one. What about the rear? Nope, that's body colored too. Okay, well, so be it. Oh, don't be falling down on the job. Use this guy right here. Use this guy right here. Oh, we won't. This guy needs to be clean. We'll use this one. All right, let's get chocolate brown first. That's not chocolate brown. That's chocolate brown. And then U.S. Field Red. And then Iraqi sand. Why do you use those colors? Yes. You can play that one on Flames of War. I just don't like the Flames of War game, but their website's awesome. There's a lot of really good information there. The game just lacks depth. Big time. So we're going to get this chocolate brown color. And we'll go around the bottom of it. All right, and then we're going to roll into Iraqi and then the U.S. Field Drab. Sometimes I'll do some with this color, like edges and stuff like that. And then we do Iraqi sand. You know, I don't mind repainting this, but you're doing a lot of work, and you wouldn't have the Jaguar writing on it. There's just a lot of these graphics are pretty damn good. It's amazing how well this actually turns out, considering how little effort I think this really takes. And just because it's an all-black vehicle, some of these all-black vehicles paint up really nice. Schadenfreude turned out really nice, that Porsche. Happy Friday. You doing better today, man? Man, talking to you on this channel feels like I'm cheating around on your wife. And that's what the account number is. I saw you name drop me. I don't mind. You know, with Mr. Whatever his name is, Creepy Hero. I really like Creepy Hero stuff a lot. I'm not sold on the figures too much, and it's not his fault. He didn't sculpt them. They're like Titan something or another. They're just too like Baywatch. Like they're like Baywatch Extreme. You know. You know, some figures they're just not your jam. I don't know what scale you come familiar with, but like in 15 millimeter, when I was doing 15 millimeter Ancients, there's just some figures that I just can't get on with. Oh, the perfect example was the ones that were made in Georgia. Splintered Light. Splintered Light had some funky looking dudes. And there's people that are like zealots about them. Like, it's nice that it's local, but I don't like their figures. And I just, you know, I like these Stan Johansson figures. And they're funky. But yeah, we need more pilots. We need guys just a guy driving. Like if they made a set of figures that all looked like the Stig, okay, right? From Top Gear, that's it. Just some dude in a one-piece suit. You could change the suit however you wanted to, with a helmet on or without a helmet. Well, I don't know what that Stig looks like, so maybe a helmet is better. That'd be fine. You know, it's not that I want to put figures in them. It's that when you have an open top vehicle, there has to be somebody fucking driving the car. You know. But I don't think that's his designs. He just prints them. Ask him to make normal people instead of punk rock. I don't like the build of the figures. I looked at them a lot today, and I'm like, I don't like the build of the figure. The build of the female figures are better. Because they're not like, you know, the male figures are like this. They're like extremely broad here and with little narrow waists. And I'm like, you know, I don't need them to look like me, but I'm just saying that, you know, they need to be more, you know, realistic. You know? Yeah, I don't mind if they're punk rockers, but, you know, I don't want them to wear like mohawk. Like every team doesn't need to have that, you know? You know, if you have everybody that looks just like a regular driver, like, I want this guy that looks like an Irish. I want this guy that looks like an Irish guy. You can paint his helmet like an Irish colors or something like that, you know? You don't have to be like, okay, well, I'll paint his mohawk in Irish colors. Like, yeah, that's not what I want. And there's some other guys that 3D print stuff. It doesn't look very good. They don't look very good. I looked at them a lot today. And there just isn't. Now, North Star, I believe it was North Star, one of the first people that made North Star 20 millimeter figures. They make Here's some other hits. The folks at who? Mace Face Miniatures. 20 millimeter, apocalyptic, okay. See what we can make of these shambling zombies. If I have to do zombies, I'm going to buy the ones that are just clear and they're just green or whatever. I'm not going to go through all that effort of painting. I've never painted the zombie. I'm not going to paint a bunch of zombies that are just going to get run over in a second. And honestly, I like this game as Death Race only, or primarily. You know, if you need to like do other versions. New 20 millimeter post-apocalyptic miniatures from Maceface. Of course they come from Britain. Why else would they come from somebody else? They don't make very much stuff. All right, I'm going to tell you something about Facebook, and hopefully it doesn't get anybody's panties in a wad. If the President of the United States, the Pope, Vladimir Putin, Winnie the Pooh from China, and a nuclear war all broke out, there would be less posts about it on Facebook than about Chuck Norris. Oh my God, there's so many posts about Chuck Norris. I can't say that I've seen a single Chuck Norris thing, and there's a reason for that. He's a terrible actor. He could probably kick my ass, you know, but my God, everybody posted about that. Ya basta! North Star makes a set. I want to say it's North Star. North Star Gaslands set. And they have normal looking people in there. North Star Miniatures, and they're really expensive for those of us here in the United States. These remind me of the sculpting style of the guy that did the Mexican-American war figures for War Games Foundry that look awesome. His style is very similar to that. I really like the way these look. They look meaty, right? But not too meaty. These really look the part. These really look the part. Corporate team. North Star Miniatures. All right, so let's go to North Star Miniatures. North Star Miniatures. North Star military figures. Sure, that'll work. Shopping cart. I think their website's not super friendly. Home delivery payment bargains latest terms. Search. 20 millimeter. I don't know what they call them. Artisan designs. That's who their figures look like. And it might be whoever that sculptor is. I don't know. I like his sculpting style, whoever the hell he is. Or she. Cobblestone. They might be cobblestones. Fistful of Kung Fu. Agama Miniatures. Archon. Great War, Great Escape, Great Gripping Beast stuff looks great. Just the wrong scale. Oh, they carry Maceface. Alright, what do we got here in the Maceface? Scavengers, okay, they're on foot. Scavengers, drivers, and passengers. Zone casualties. Villager zombies. Shield Maiden Command. Shield Maiden with spears. Okay, I don't need people run around with spears. Okay, it looks like some other stuff that's not. Oh, that's 15 millimeter. So they just. Okay, I guess it makes them 15 millimeters. So what is this? Scavengers, drivers, and passengers look like. Okay, they got gas masks. And that would be okay for some people, but, you know, I don't want everybody to have a gas mask. So, okay, that's not it. So what is their regular line of their figures? Let me go all here, scroll. Warriors, Wiggloff, War Heroes, Illustrated, Victrix, Trench Crusade, Two Fat Lords, the Lost. This is not a good website. It doesn't automatically allow me to search for Oathmark, North Star Steampunk, no, North Star Horror Fantasy Arsenal, Star Musco Style Hawk, Code Mantic, Mana, Kraut Cover. That's a good name, Kraut Cover. Days of Ruin, Good Force, Mad King. I don't see any of these. Alright, let me do what can I search for? Search for 20 millimeter. We'll put drivers. No products. Okay, let me do a search for drivers without 20 millimeter in front of it. Bootleggers, corporate team, drivers and passengers, highway patrol, punks, drivers, okay, truck drivers. Okay, so who makes these guys? Who makes corporate team? What line are they under? Oh, it's under Gaslands. All right, so let me click Gaslands, see what else we got. Not a very user-friendly. Gaslands refueled. 26 products. Okay, so what they started off with was Implements of Carnage 1 and Implements of Carnage 2. And I believe we can get these on eBay. And I may decide to order this. 2 plastic frames of weapons, armor, drivers, and much more. Designed to help you customize your die-cast cars and instrument of death used in games like Gaslands Refueled. Alright, and I believe these guys make motorbikes too, which I'm not super interested in. And I can't really tell what these figures friggin' look like. Implements of Carnage 1, 2, the templates, right? Effects templates. Here's an interceptor driver, but one guy, and he's 2 pound at 80. And it's nice that there's a standing version of him and him behind the wheel. Highway patrol, corporate team, drivers and passengers. Bootleggers, drivers, and passengers. All right, let's go see what their rednecks look like. Okay, these guys look pretty good. If you're going to have somebody paint your figures, make sure they do a good job. Oh, they're good sets? Are they like 20 mil, or are they like 1/64th? I saw some Hot Wheels that came with 1/64th scale people, and they would be like, Herman Munster, if you used to compare to everybody else. All right, we might have to test the waters with that, because the ones that I have, those look better than Stan Johansson's figures. But Stan Johansson's figures work. The style of them is okay. They're more affordable than those, but he passed away, so, and his family's not continuing them. So, Okay, I think this Jaguar is done-ish. All right, let's go back to vitamin C4 here. You saw that that one guy that posted the stuff. I mean, he does amazing work. Conrad Cruz, he does amazing work. But I'm like, hey, you better come up with a name before that storm comes and eats you alive. Like, you created this beautiful artwork, which just is a lot of, I mean, you're talking about 20 hours worth of stuff. I mean, I could do that, but man, then I wouldn't have any cars. But like, he doesn't have a name for it yet, or maybe you just want to. I'm like, I come up with a name first. The name comes first. Well, maybe that's not important to some people. It is to me. I don't want somebody else's name in my car. One of the few things I feel like I'm good at, I might as well just. Oh yeah, that brush is getting a little too soft. All right, so this is the wettest of the mud. I don't believe in buying mud products. I'm sure they work fine, but that's just getting you to buy shit you don't need. As the father-in-law would say, inventando mierda para comprar. Inventing shit to buy. Inventando mierda para comprar. Badger Games, Stock the North. Okay, Badger Games is in the U.S., I take it? They're plastic, right? Look, if I got like a buggy, like, I gotta put somebody in the buggy, it's open topped. I should put someone in the buggy, let's put it that way. I don't mind painting figures. I mean, I'm better at painting figures than I am painting vehicles. I've got a lot of experience painting figures. Not go crazy. Need to leave some room for the other colors. Need some room for the other colors. And I just keep this towards the bottom. Now this other color may come up a little bit. I'm surprised I don't miss going to Historicon. I mean, the only reason I'd go now would be like to shop, and that's not cost effective. Sets are plastic. The buggies come with drivers and gunners. Well, somebody else makes. I'd like to get a tuk-tuk. I'd like to have an Indian team. I don't mean, on the reservation. I know Ben would like that. Maybe. And I have a vehicle that I came across that I think would be an Indian vehicle. I'll say I don't really like fantasy. There's enough interesting things that we already have on this planet Earth that are interesting enough. Like the different nations that we already have. It's interesting. You know, I don't need to we need to create a race of people that are red and have horn. Like, no. You know, I'm good with everything that we already have. Everything that God already put on this planet for us is interesting enough. You know? This. I think I'm going to make this an Indian vehicle. Look, it's already painted like a Bengal tiger. It's a Range Rover. Badger Games in Wisconsin. Okay. Have to check them out. Light colored vehicles. Well, I shouldn't say that. I got dark colored vehicles that look really good. Again, the important thing is that I have a vision of kind of what it's going to look like. And if it meets that or surpasses it, I'm really happy. It's almost always the case. Except a couple times already this year. It was with the repair shop. I'm not happy with that. I'm not going to throw it away, but it definitely did not turn it. And then this Dirty Cooter. Dirty Cooter just, it's the splash. It was that pink splash. I wish I should have realized that was going to be a problem. Like it was just going in too many directions at once. But the build on it, I think, is interesting. You know, I can't love everything I do, you know, so. But those aren't terrible odds. Just a couple things out of all the things that I've made that I've been happy with. Before that, like the only thing that I had come up with that I didn't really like how it turned out is there's one of my commanders for my my Nang Chao army. I had like a blue uniform on, like a dark blue uniform, and it just didn't pop enough. So I like repainted it in red and stuff like that. Solved it, you know. But I don't use. That's not really a problem that I have very often. Like I said, it doesn't matter if other people like it. I'm saying if I like it, because you're the one that needs to be happy with it, so that you're like motivated to do more things. You know, if everybody likes it, but I don't, that doesn't work either. And we haven't added drippings yet. So, now this is going to be, Marty's really going to like this. So Marty has this vehicle in real life, or had this vehicle in real life. Obviously not as, not with explosives or guns on it. I mean, he had it in California, so I'm surprised he even let him drive it. With all the rules and regulations they got over there. Definitely no ordinance. Yeah, like I didn't paint the wheels at all. Like, they look amazing. They really look amazing. Now, it could look more amazing, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to spend 20 hours on this vehicle. You know, because like nobody will care except me, and I'm good with it. And I've got 400 other vehicles to do, or 6. And no, I won't get to all of them, but at the rate I'm going, I'll get to most of them. And I really like doing this more than anything else I've done in recent memory. Because, you know, you're done with this, you're like, I want to do something completely different. What are you going to do? I'm going to build a bus. You know, a bus is significantly different than like one of these cars. More so than, oh, I'm just going to build a barbarian army instead of a Roman army. Okay? I don't mind showing everybody all of my secrets, but I have to do a lot of writing at work for people that don't fucking listen, and and I had to do a lot of sentences as a kid. I will not do this, So I'm like, I don't want to waste my time writing. So, I'll even do a video on it. I'll do a video on how on what, and this is just a way to do it. There's some other people that have different ways to do it, but I think my way is really freaking easy. It's mindless. There's lots of little subtle little edges on this model. All these little toys have a lot of detail on them. You just need to come up with a method to make all that stuff shine. Now, I don't know if the door handle on this particular vehicle was chrome. I'm probably going to do it chrome, so there's something there that is worth looking at. Something to get your eye to go, that looks tasty. Something to look at. This may be one of my favorite vehicles. I just don't like putting things on a vehicle that aren't going to get represented. Like, I wouldn't want to put like a gun somewhere. What's that? Well, it's not in the car. That just adds confusion. All right, I gotta use the little boy's room because I'm drinking tea and it goes right through me. I'll be right back. And we will continue working on this thing. Let me step away from it and take a look at it. Yeah, that thing looks amazing. And we're not done yet. We haven't even done any of the corrosion. All right, we'll be right back. All right. So if we want to corrode that door handle, and normally I would look and see if it had chrome lab. I don't care. It probably did. 1975. It probably has metallic colored thing. I'm going to do it because it's going to stand out nicely. So we want to put an underlayer of black there. Okay. So let's come down here and I don't know which one of these is primer, which one is black, so let's just put a little dot of black and work with that. It's all about continually moving because these things drying, That's the only reason I'm working on multiple vehicles at once, is when you can't work on one, you can work on the other one. Yeah, and this is when you know you're on a roll. So I said about 45 minutes ago, I said, well, I'll stop at 8. Now it's like 8, almost 8:20, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm on a roll. That's what I like, man. We got it going on now. We got it going on now. All right, we need to paint that in black. And the reason we paint that in black is so it pops itself away from it. That's just the style that I like to do things in. And I see we have some rear view mirrors here. So we're going to paint those too. I really don't have a preference between Matchbox and I'm probably going to go to a die-cast store tomorrow. I got to go drive halfway to where my wife is. And so we're probably going to go to Tallahassee. And they have a die-cast store in Tallahassee. All right, check that out. I'm not going to a hobby store. Like, hobby stores just kind of have, like, you got a lot of stores there that have, like, magic cards and Pokemon stuff and things like that. I don't care about that. I just want to look through die-cast stuff. Even if I don't buy anything, it's just cool to go through and look at stuff. You know? And if you do find something to buy, guess what? It's like $1, you know? So it's like, not like a big splurge or something. All right, and I think that little bit dried so quick, I can just roll right into, oh no, we're gonna use mithril silver. Where's mithril silver at? Good old mithril silver, aged. I like to say, I open this thing up and it smells like Margaret Thatcher. Well, maybe not now, but I probably got this at about 1988. It was like, yeah, because it's British. Oh, why does it say that? It smells like Reagan. No, it's British. Citadel, as we used to call it. Citadel was a good name. Well, let's not throw that on the ground. I'm being klutzy because I got glasses on. All right, now. Spots out here that maybe stand out a little bit. There's some people that can paint gunmetal and use grays. Hey, good for them. I can't do it. I can't do it. We'll leave the front of it like blacked out. Okay, remember we're not using. Oh, we are going to need. Is that too bright? Maybe not. We'll use this so it stands out nicely for the ties. Ugh. Damn it, man. Let's not do that. That's how you get cut. So with this thin detail stuff, I love using liners. Love using liners. As opposed to round. Now you gotta look at it, but so much better control. And they already come in the package, so. These are cheap Hobby Lobby type brushes. I mean, they're not super cheap, but they're definitely not premium. It worked just fine. No Winston and Newton brushes. There's nowhere to buy those even if I wanted to. I mean, I'm worth it, but that's just unnecessary. Okay. Just have a little bit of a shine because we're going to go to dripping lands now. All right. Let's get rid of this, move it off to the side. We have plenty of those. Mid brown. Which is very reddish. I'll put a little bit of dark tone here just for good measure. Not going to use strong tone because the whole thing had strong tone on it. Soft tone, this is the orangish, the more orangey one. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the more brown one. It's light tone that is very orangey. Actually, I like light tone a lot. It won't be that noticeable on this car because it's already orange, but. Or did I do that wrong? No, soft tone is the orange one. It just didn't look like it was very orange. Well, when we add a little bit of water here, no, I was right the second time. Light tone is the orange one. And then a little bit of black. This stuff cuts really well with water. Really well. It doesn't like separate, like it becomes one with the water. That's why I like to use this stuff. It's easy to use. You can thin it down however you want. You can even apply it gel-like if you want to. Got a gas can. I love putting the drippings off the gas can. You know, like you're fueled in a hurry kind of thing. And then back here we've got this black. We definitely want to make all this, whatever this is back here, whatever this contraption I added to it, so that it stands out. I really like this vehicle. I really like this vehicle. But sometimes it's not necessarily because a car is cool or anything like that. It's just because everything just kind of falls into place and it looks the part. There's a couple of my muscle cars I really like a lot. They look the part. Like I said, these are like the only cars that are affordable now. Price of cars is just absurd. We're going to have some corrosion that happens here. So we don't really know what this stuff gets used for. It just happens to be back there. It's a mount for the barrel on the back. An explosive ram on the front and the back. Get one shot and you're done. And then it acts like you don't have one. And it's ingeniously made so that your own car doesn't take damage. It's basically reactive armor. I was on last weekend. I went down to that flea market, and Derek, and I went by a veterans post, a Veterans of Foreign War little building. And out of the corner of my eye, I see him. Oh my God! It's an M60A2, a Starship. Not a very good vehicle, but a very cool vehicle. Probably one of the cooler vehicles that didn't work out. I remember back when we used to play Modern Micro Armor. You'd have those. I don't know that any orders of battles actually used them, but I think those fired the Shillelagh too, right? Same, just like the Persian. Sheridan, sorry, Sheridan. Sheridan's a cute little thing. Oh, wrong one. M60A2 Starship. It was painted recently too. Very, very dark green. Now, where this gun meets the roof, that is a great opportunity for some corrosion to appear. Uninvited. Hey, who invited you? Yeah, the Shillelagh, yeah. And they had an HE round too, right? I remember when we used to play Modern Micro Armor, we took like a company of M1s, and they just like would hold down like who knows how many Soviet tanks. We thought at that time, it's like, man, this game must really be balanced. But, who knows? You know what's going on over there, and the Soviet tanks ain't doing too hot. We came to the realization that the M1s are just really overpowering. I didn't have any M1s, though. I had West Germans. There's two words I don't use very often together. West and German. West Germans and British Army of the Rhine. And of course, I had Soviets as well, but I had some Arab-Israeli war stuff as well. I never played it, but I did have Centurions and Super Shermans and Arabized T-54s, 55s, 62s. I always liked the way the Sheridan looked. If I had to do micro armor again, which I'm not going to, I'm just talking, I would do something around the end of Eisenhower, the beginning of Kennedy, in the Fulda Gap. That way you would have, so like 1959, 1960 at the latest, but really like 57, 58, 59, 60. That kind of thing. That way you could have light tanks, medium tanks, and heavy tanks. You'd have those awesome M103s, again with Pattons, and then Walker Bulldogs. And the Soviets could have their, T-10, whatever the hell they had at the time. T-10Ms. It's not practical, but I like the idea of heavy tanks. Hey, we're building stuff because it's cool, not because it's practical. Now, what we actually did is we painted it silver, but we did enough of this rusty stuff that it turned it orangish, so it actually, the straps now match the color of the car. That's what you want to see. Pleasant surprises. This is slightly curved in the back. The A2's firing sequence had a strange noise. A friend and I listened to the recording and did a collective WTF when this strange noise happened after the main gun went off. Yeah, they look cool. They definitely would be like a futuristic looking vehicle. I mean the under the hull is very traditional looking, but the turret is definitely very very unique. You're on the A1s. A1, very traditional looking tank. Relatively attractive. I thought the standard M48s, the ones like that had the 90 millimeter, were pretty unattractive. But again, probably doesn't matter. I like the way M47s look though. The Battle of the Bulge King Tigers. There's a lot of styrofoam on the Sheridan so that it would float. Don't want to be in that thing inside of a fire. That stuff burns really well. I had there's a guy I know who claims, let me put it that way. I mean, I know him and he didn't do that. He was a cook. I'm just saying what he told me, right? You're on A3s? Yeah, A3's a pretty good looking tank. He was a commander, or he says he was a commander of M1s in the Gulf War. The first Gulf War, the Kuwait one. The Valley of Death Kuwait War, the one. And he's a really tall guy. I mean, he's taller than I am. I mean, I was going to say I'm average height, but no, I guess I'm technically more than average height. Average height's like, what, 5'8" or something like that? 5'9". I'm a smidge over that. But he's like 6'2", 6'3", lanky as shit, you know. He said after that he went to training out west where they use those Sheridans as Russian mock-ups. And I want to say he had showed me some pictures. He wouldn't have just admit, you know. And they look pretty cool. I mean, you know. I mean, they don't look as good as, like, the Russians do in their war movies. Like, the Russians are, you know, Russian war movies are, like, propaganda bullshit. But they put a lot of effort into making their vehicles look somewhat realistic. Or at least the World War II stuff. It's impressive. Or maybe it's depressing what everybody else does. This thing looks pretty good. And it should be a hoot to play, too. Yeah, it's got explosive ram on the front, explosive ram on the back, a mine dropper, grenades. It's slippery, which means if anybody tries to ram it, they get -2 dice on it. But it's a powder keg, which means if it blows up, it gets an improved chance of blowing up. Oh, it's got a heavy machine gun, too. Let's not forget that. HMG. Okay. Rear view mirror. And then both of these guys are done. I'll go spray them and then we post pictures of them tonight. Get everybody's appetite wet. That's the whole point. Help each other out. Like, man, that looks really cool. I want to build something. I mean, that's why I do it. You know, I see stuff all the time on the internet. I'm like, that's super cool. I got to try that. You know, I don't look at other things like, man, that looks so awesome. I can never do something as good as that. Fuck this. I'm going to go play dominoes, you know, or whatever. You know, it's. I think this is, you know, real empowering. All right, what the fuck was I going to do? Rear view mirror. Right. We need some white. The Viz mods were cool, but were stripped of all necessary gear. Is that what you guys called them? The little... The Sheridans are cute. They really are, you know? Something Ben, I think it was Ben was saying, it's like, oh, you would find that cute. I do. There's some things that are cute. You know, they don't win wars, but they make you want to build them. You know, there's some modern vehicles that I think are really attractive. I think a Sheridan's pretty attractive. I've always liked the way Saladin armored cars looked. Always. They might be a piece of crap, but I've always liked the way they look. The use of our A3 tanks to build barrier reefs now. Well, the last use was the Marines had them in the Gulf, right? The Marines had them in that same Gulf War, the Kuwait Gulf War. I still have those Desert Shield. That's what I should call it. Desert Storm. Desert Storm. I still have those Desert Storm collectible cards. They're like, you know, not worth anything, but you know, I don't have a whole set of them or anything. But I actually saw a vintage store in the next town over when I went a couple of months ago when they had packs and packs and packs of those things. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be buying any of those. We're not going to paint the horizon in it or anything like that. Just something so it's got paint on it. Okay, and this is Sir Jagoff and vitamin C4. So Sir Jagoff has a laser in almost like a plans case. Like something, you know, you have that rollout plan, a blueprint, like a blueprint thing. Performance car with satellite navigation, has expertise with a glue dropper, smoke, and a combat laser. Front mounted. And vitamin C4, I would have made vitamin C4 a buggy, but it's too big to be a buggy. You know, these are supposed to be 1/64th scale, and they obviously aren't, you know. So, actually, Sir Jagoff needs one thing on it, and that is, it needs a dividing line between the front and the back clear panel here on the door. That needs to stand out. And it's etched ever so slightly. Now this one, I actually didn't put any drippings on it, so we need to go and drip this joker. There we go. You know, speaking of barrier reefs, I don't like the idea of them sinking ships and making reefs out of them. I just don't. I don't like it. I don't like it. It bugs me. It bugs me. Well, the fish can live there. The fish are going to live there anyways. You know, I just don't like the idea of, you know, there's enough things sunk in the ocean by accident. I don't feel like we need to add more to it. All right, that's as earthy as I get. I don't know, just the idea of it. I don't like the idea of, you know, throwing trash in the ocean. That's, you know. I'm not trying to save the earth. The earth will adapt. I just don't want the earth to be looking fucking ugly. You know? Who wants to look at an ugly earth? I certainly don't. We got really bad pollen around here. So when it gets cold, it's fine. Then when it warms up one day, it's like, you know, everything's like covered in yellow cocaine. And, yeah. Big mess. My wife's car gets parked outside. Mine's in the garage. And I took her car into work on purpose today, so that she's away. She'll be back hopefully tomorrow. But there's a frickin' mockingbird, at least one, that likes to park by the rear mirror here on the outside, look at itself, get excited, and shit all over the car. And I don't dislike birds, but I hate mockingbirds. Because they're dicks, too. And they think they run everything. You know, I've seen them at work, like, they'll chase down, like, hawks and stuff. And Hawk's a lazy motherfucker because he lets himself get chased down. Like, I wouldn't put up with that crap. They didn't sell the A3s to anybody? I don't know. We need to get out of business of making weapons. What I'm saying is, if we have a tank, nobody should have our tank. End of story. But we might have to fight Australia one day. That's not likely. That's not coming up on my bingo card. But I mean, I wouldn't sell our shit to anybody. But I think that's good enough for me. I think that's good enough for me. I have a half a mind to write TNT on these barrels, but I think I'll forego that for the time being. I can always do that later. But I think we're good with that. So I appreciate you guys coming by, keeping me company, as always. I'm gonna wait maybe 30 minutes. And then, see, all we did was added the black line to this, and this thing looks amazingly better. The brown wash to not make the entire surface look exactly the same, give it a little bit of variance. I don't like using the word everybody likes to use, modulation. Variance. When you look at a car in a showroom, it's all the same color. When you look at anything outside, everything is subtly a little bit different. It just looks more real. Add some variance with that. And then the black line to make those details pop. Because you got to well, you don't have to. I choose to exaggerate them so you can see them 2 and 3 feet away. Everything looks great up here. But when you're, across the table from it, you want to